You see everyone on the internet achieving these great things that you can only dream of. You doubt you can ever reach that level, but I want to ask you one simple question. Why not you? I wanted to make this podcast for a while about this because I hate it when people say that that can never be me. The goal is to address this statement and explain why you need to delete it from your mind. So let's get into the points. But before we do that, let's do our intro. Welcome back, everybody, to the Insightful Podcast. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. If you are enjoying the podcast so far, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and comment any future topics you'd like me to speak about in the future. But without further ado, let's get into why you can achieve anything that you put your mind to. So the first thing is if it happens to be on the internet, on social media, or the people around you, and you see that they have achieved something that is great and something that you desire to achieve one day as well, you need to realize that they were all in the same position as you at one point. They didn't have the knowledge needed in order to start progressing in that avenue of life. There was a time where they doubted that if it was even possible. And there was a time where they needed to build better habits in order to achieve that success that they're looking at, right? For example, Ronaldo is the best example of this. He was cleaning the streets of Portugal when he was younger, but then he became this figure, this person that everyone looks up to now. He's inspired millions of people. So, you need to ask yourself, no matter what situation you're in currently, you have the ability to become something great. It might take a month, it might take years, it might take your whole entire life to reach that goal that you are striving for. But you need to always keep in your mind that if someone else has done it, it is possible, right? It's just like I believe it was the 4 minute mile or whatever it was. No one could do it until some that one person did it, and then everyone was doing it. So sometimes I believe in the whole concept of comparison is the thief of joy, and when you look at someone else, you kind of forget about the progress and the results that you've made. But the good thing about social media is that you're seeing so many people achieve great things that you can start to believe it, right? The only reason why I have an entrepreneurial mindset is because I had a figure in my life that did it, that started a business, was successful with that business. And, I looked at him and I'm like, wow, you now have freedom of your time. You have freedom to do what you want to do. And that gave me hope that I can achieve it. And then also was when I started to get into self improvement and I saw all these people online doing these great things, achieving these great businesses that came out of nowhere. And that gave me hope that I can do it as well. Let's take a quick break to speak about the sponsor for the podcast. I am now working with a company called Attilius Apparel, and if you want Christian fitness wear that looks like or this, click the link in the description. Now let's get back into the podcast. So, sometimes I understand that if you're spending too much time on social media and you're comparing yourself to others, it can kind of get you distracted and it'll leave you feeling discouraged. But if you could change your perspective and be inspired by these people, you can then once say to yourself, why not me? Why can't I do what they're doing? I'm no different than them. So that's a very very big positive to social media that sometimes isn't spoken about enough. The next thing you need to realize is that with discipline, anything can be achieved. No matter what pursuit you are currently on, it requires discipline. If that's to become a bodybuilder, if that's to build a business, if that's to create art that people will love and want to put in their homes, or, whatever it might be, or music that you're making that people are going to listen to in the future. All these avenues, all these things that you want to be successful in takes discipline because it's not going to happen overnight. You have to consistently be doing the work on a daily basis, especially when you don't feel like it, in order to achieve said result, right? So when you look at someone else and you see them in the position that you want to be in the future, you need to always remind yourself that they started way before you and they stayed disciplined when maybe right now you aren't, right? It's the whole concept with uh, all these 20-year-olds on Instagram having a shit ton of money and they're traveling the world and they're living the life you want to live. At the end of the day, some people may say it's fake. Some people may say they're getting their money from other people and they're flexing it on social media, but to the people that are actually in that position that created it for themselves, you need to realize that they were probably started these business ventures at 15, right? I remember when first decided to pursue entrepreneurship, that like the first couple months, it was just a struggle to have better time management and to build a better routine. So that took a lot of time within itself. I may have thought in the beginning that once I get all this free time, I'll be able to do all the type of work that I want to do and achieve my results. But it took a long time just to build the foundational skills in order to be an entrepreneur. But these 20-year-olds that you're seeing that are already successful, they already had gone through that process at the age of 15. So they're way ahead of you, right? You know, you may be older than these people, but they're in the business world, in the entrepreneurial world, they're older than you because they've been in the game longer, right? And it's just like these hockey players or soccer players, whoever, when they're 18 and they're in the league scoring goals, making a lot of money for an entry level contract, they have been playing this sport and been dedicated to it ever since they were the age of 3. So that's why they're in that position. You need to get out of your head sometimes and not blame yourself and understand the situation that people are in. And you have to respect that because they dedicated their life to that one individual pursuit. And that's why they're in the position they are in today. But all of this requires discipline. You cannot get to where you want to be in life if you don't have discipline. You can become anyone you want, but what you won't sorry, you can become anyone you want, but you won't get there by doing what you are currently doing. We need to recognize that who you are right now and the things you do right now is what led you to the position you are in today. So, in order to achieve a new said result, you need to do things that you aren't doing right now, right? It's the whole concept of people will say, like, on the internet about, oh, make 10K a month, make 10K a month. But are you the type of person that deserves to make that much money online, right? Or, I have a podcast right now and it's very small, but do I put out the type of content that's deserving of a podcast that has thousands of monthly listeners? At this current moment, no. So what do I change? I change how often I post because there's some podcasters that are posting podcasts every other day. And I was sometimes posting once a week, once every 2 weeks. So how am I meant to compete with that? And how am I meant to get to the result I want to be at with the type of effort that I'm putting in? So in order to become someone who is deserving of thousands of listeners and people loving their podcast, I need to put in a lot of work. I need to learn so that when I come on here and speak, I have something to speak about. I need to come up with ideas. I need to film. Like today, for example, I'm filming 6 podcasts in a row. These are all ideas that I came up with that I wanted to speak about. And then I'm going to start recording, and boom, that's the content that's going to be pushed out for the next 2 weeks. But I'm only deserving of success in things if I put the work in. And that's one of the biggest mindset shifts I had with self-improvement is not feeling deserving of everything, even when I didn't put in work. Anytime I don't get the result I wanted in life, I always blame myself. I take 100% accountability because it was my fault why I didn't get to my goal. It was because there at some point I was the one that slacked off. I was the one that didn't do the work that was needed to be done. So I can't blame anyone else but the person I see in the mirror. So you need to remember that if you are not in the position you want to be in right now, maybe you are undeserving of that position because of what you're currently doing. So assess your situation and realize the changes you need to make and then keep moving forward. In order to go on this path of achieving something great, you must first believe that it can be done. This is one of the biggest things, right? Is most people will sell themselves short because they don't even believe it's possible. So when you don't believe it's possible, you never even start, right? And that's the biggest issue, is that people that see these others that are achieving great things and doing amazing things for themselves and for other people, they immediately write themselves off by saying that can never be me. So if you can't even believe it in the beginning that it can be done, what's going to make you push forward? It sounds ridiculous and it sounds crazy, but when I first started working out at home with just resistant bands and dumbbells, the reason why I worked out every day and didn't skip a day was because I always told myself, would Mr. Olympia be taking a day off? And in my delusional mind in the beginning, I thought I could be Mr. Olympia. So that was my pushing force, right? So I was able to believe something that is very difficult, very prestigious to achieve from the beginning in order to give me that push and drive that I needed. And now I work out for different reasons and I'm able to stay consistent. But I always ask myself, if I never believed that from the beginning of my workout journey, would I've stayed this consistent over the last 5 to 6 years? Right? So, in order to achieve anything great, my friend, you need to first start off by believing it is possible. Because if you don't believe it's possible, you're writing yourself off from the beginning and you'll never even start, let alone when you do start. And if you do start putting in the work, the second you deal with some adversity or some obstacle, you are going to quit because you never even believed it was possible from the beginning. And I know a lot of people deal with that. So that's why I wanted to make this podcast the most, because I know it's something that affects us at every point in our life. And some people get over this fact and some others don't. But all it takes is a perspective and a mindset shift in order to start thinking like this. Because you need to have the confidence within yourself that that you are able to achieve anything that you set your mind to. And that's the biggest thing that you can have, and the biggest, like the best part of your mindset you can have if you have that perspective. So keep that in mind, my friend. Why not you? Thank you guys for listening to the podcast and making it this far till the end. If you enjoyed it, remember to follow us on Spotify. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. Let me know in the comments what has been the most impactful episode of the Insightful podcast so far, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Take care, everybody.